pride is not to forget where you began from. When you forget how you began, you will frustrate your future. Because a humble beginning with a proud present is already a destructive end. Very destructive end. When you arrive at a point that pride places you above assistance and admonition, you have already designed your adversity and destruction. Don't forget where you began from. That's the mistake many people do make as they grow. Started from somewhere, but because you have climbed a state or arrived a state, you feel that you have arrived and you forgot where you began from. And that forgetfulness is the beginning of your trouble. You forgot who were with you when you were nothing. You forgot who blessed you to become what you are. Those that built you simply because someone was telling me a story that a young man begged on the street to an extent that averagely everyone within the neighborhood had borrowed him money in one way or the other. Those selling food, those cutting hair, and several people. And because of wretchedness and his community connection, he got a political appointment. And even to come home and bless the people, he doesn't. Those that took him and aided him for such appointment, he has deserted them. He has forgotten that every political appointment has an end. You can't govern forever. Don't forget where you began from. It is pride for you to think that your stability is forever when you cut off from your source. What do you have that was not given to you? What do you have that you've not received? And the question is, from whom have you received all that you have now that are forming the basis of your pride? Uzziah was a mighty king in Israel. In 2 Chronicles 26, verse 3 to 16, he had several equipment of war. He had workings in agriculture and husbandry. He literally subdued enemy nations. But when his heart was lifted, he began to fight the one that placed him there. The big mistake you ever make in life is to forget your root. When you forget your root, you don't have a right to remain again. How you became what you become is the root that you must not let go from your mind. That alone will give you a right positioning, an attitude of operation. If you must conquer pride and impatience, don't forget where you came from. They want to lure you into ritual business. Don't forget where you came from. Want to lure you into fornication and boycotting process. Don't forget where you came from. Your root is always your right. When you forget your root, you become unrighteous, because your right will become shabby and your claims will be poor and corrupted. So how will you conquer pride? where you began from. Don't forget your starting point. Understand that you had the beginning. And most time, your beginning is a humble beginning. For most people, rather, it's a humble beginning. So because you began as a humble man, you are wearing a haughty face, and you think that you maintain that height. It's a lie. If you must conquer pride and impatience, don't forget where you came from. Do you know that the understanding of the decent home and culture you came out from will just keep you? That's why I love Africa to an extent, especially when it has to do with accepting all these frivolous right of the lesbians and all that. We have a root, and that root denies that kind of oppression. Don't forget where you began from. Always remember your beginning. It will keep you humble. It will keep you humble. When you know how God raised you to the current state of your living, you will learn to appreciate the process that He took you through. Number 2, realize your helplessness without help. Recall we said that if you get to a point where you reject assistance and admonition, you have already designed your adversity yourself. Jesus in John 15 verse 5 said, without me you can do nothing. There is no point where you outgrow help. A time must definitely come when you will need help. If you are proud to reject help, you are already in the journey to destruction. So you must realize your need for help at all times. If men can help you, God can help you. So if you come to a place where you conclude that you don't need help again, I can buy heaven, I can buy the planet, and I can buy humanity, you're already doomed for destruction. Rejecting your helplessness is already a definition of doom for you. I will look up to the hill from where my help comes from. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of the heaven and the earth. As long as you remember your root, you still understand that you have need for help. Let us boldly come to the throne of grace, where we obtain mercy and find grace to help us. If you are proud to reject assistance from men and from God, you will be humble to beg for assistance from men and God when the season change. When in seasonal dynamism, your boast on and claims on rejection of help and admonition will change by seasonal dynamism. Outside the assistance of God, your adventure is already an adversity. There is no accomplishment for a man that rejects assistance and admonition. As long as the earth remains, you can't do all things and you can have all things. So at one point or the other, you will need help. So if you get that registered to your subconsciousness, you will conquer pride and impatience. And you know how to define the paths where your help is found. I will look up to the hills. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 5. As you seek to pray, Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 5. Listen. Thus saith the Lord, Cursed be the man that trusted in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whoso's heart departed from the Lord. He shall be like the heat of the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit parched places in the wilderness and in the salt land, and shall not be inhabited. This is to a man that doesn't understand the way of divine assistance and human complementation. He will dwell in parched places, and you'll be in the land that is not inhabited. Kindly realize that regardless of how high you get to in life, you will need help. If you get that registered in your subconscious, you will conquer pride and impatience. But if you are too proud to think that no time will ever come in your existence again that you need human or divine help, you have already created a wall path for destruction to yourself. Lastly, so we pray, how will you conquer pride and impatience? Value season and understand the waiting process. The prophet asked Gehazi, is it time to collect gifts? Is it time to get vineyards? Is it time to have men servant and maid servant at your command? Is it time? Is it time? You need to ask yourself this question at all times, so it could humble your spirit and soul together. Is it time? Is it time for this kind of claim? Is it time to publish this arrival? Is it time to boastfully claim that you have reached an ultimate state and you are reserved for nothing but stability? Is it time for you to claim that? Paul the Apostle said, I put my body under subjection, lest after I have preached, I myself will not be a castaway. Value season and understand timing, then you master the waiting. If you don't value season and you don't understand times and season, you will think that an arrival is forever. Times do change. Sure, they change, and seasons also. When you don't value seasonal dynamism, seasonal changes, you will not prepare for the next season. Why must you value season? Because season always change. There is changes with season. So when you value the changes in season, you will be humble to follow the process of each season. If you don't value the changes in season, you think that all attainment are permanent. You will crash like a plane from the sky, simply because you fail to value the changes in season. If you value the changes in season, you will learn to wait. Write the vision, make it plain upon tables. Habakkuk chapter 2, that whosoever read of it will run with it. Say, for the vision is for an appointed time. Though it tarries, wait for it, it will come. The vision is for a season. That which you picture about your future is tied to a season. If the season hasn't come, wait for the season patiently. Wait for the season, sir. You want to engage in sex now? This is not the season. Young lady, it's not the season. Patiently wait for that season. If you are too proud to test, you will lose your authority because your virginity is gone. Wait for it. Your value for changes in season will give you the wisdom that will humble you through each season. If you want to maintain stability in each season, understand and value the changes in season. That will keep your heart warm and coordinated in pursuing course that will not be diverted when season change. God is the master of all seasons. That's why he can boast that he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Because anything you master, you can manage. And mastery begins from the value of understanding. They that wait on the Lord shall mount up with wings as eagle. If you wait for a process, now men will set up a mock court against you and mock you down. But there is always a mountain. You will rise. You will rise when the season of your rising comes. Will you be patient enough to wait for that season? Will you be patient enough to wait for that season? Value changes in season and be ready to wait. If you don't master process in waiting, you will never work out your what. So there is need to master the process of waiting and also master the process in waiting so that you can work out your worth. Giving up is not an option, but there is a platform where the impossible can happen. And that platform is the platform of patience. Say, must I wait till I die? The lepers at the gate of Samaria, they didn't wait till they died. Never. When the season came, they began the discussion. They've been there for years until that nudging came into them. Why sit we here till we die? If we get into the city, the famine will beat us up. And if we stay here, we will still die. But this is the season of advancement. Let us advance to the camp of the Philistines. If they spare us, then we live. If they didn't, then we die. Because it was the right season for advancement. While they were advancing, the enemies heard the noise of chariot and they fled. Why? It was the season. It was the season. Job chapter 14 verse 14. If a man dies, shall he live again? All the days of my appointed time, I will wait till my change come. All the days of my appointed time, I will wait until my change come. I will not force myself negatively to compel the change around my life. I will wait and engage the principles of transformation till I see my change come. Wait for your change to come. Change your attitude towards things, God and men. Wait. How do you conquer pride and impatience? Never forget where you began from. Always realize your helplessness without help. Divine help and human complementation. Value the changes in season and understanding the power of waiting. I'm sure the Lord has blessed you. This evening we are going to pray a very simple prayer. Lord, I receive the grace not to forget how you brought me up. You might be at the verge, but this is a reminder. Don't forget where he took you from. Jesus, help me never to forget where you brought me from. How I struggled with basic needs of life. And where you have brought me as an instructor to many. May I never forget that you brought me from somewhere that is lower than my current place. Help me to realize my helplessness without you. Help me to value the input of humanity for my stability. Kapalato